We may pay homage to the Buddha by reading Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Today's topic is Yuganaddha. So we have already finished Samatha-Vipassanā and Vipassana. Today is the last talk. Also, we have to explain 2 parts of Yuganaddhasutta. So yeah, when we talk about Yuganaddha, it is pair. Let me even combine together. But he enter the first jhana, and imagine from it, contemplate the formation as impermanent, suffering non-self. So that means without attaining jhana, Yuganaddha also impossible. That is why if somebody has attained the first jhana, then he will enter and emerge from it, and he will discern all the mentalities and materialities, and he will continue contemplating all the materialities, and their causes as anicca, dukkha, anatta. So similarly, when we have attained any of 8 attainments, we can enter, emerge from it, discern all the mentalities, materialities, their causes, then we can also contemplate anicca, dukkha, anatta. This is called Yuganaddha. Mostly people misunderstand Yuganaddha means we can do Samatha-Vipassanā together. And the same subject can be for Samatha and Vipassana both, right? This is actually misunderstanding. Also, in the very beginning, we must attain jhana. Okay, now this practice is for Vipanchitanyu, who has a Sudamaya without Chintamaya. So we have already talked about Vipanchitanyu before. Maybe for your information, I have to review. Vipanchitanyu means after listening long discourses, they will attain path and future knowledge. This is called Vipanchitanyu. So at the time of the Buddha, there are many arahats. After listening very long discourses from the Buddha, they attain noble. Even Venerable Sariputta himself, after listening to Yuganaddhasutta, the middle land discourse from the Buddha, he attained arhatship. That is why Vipanchitanyu is also for special people. Then they have Sudamaya without Chintamaya. In the case of Venerable Sariputta, he has both Sudamaya and Chintamaya. But this is just for general. So Sudamaya means learning knowledge. They are knowledgeable, but they have a lack of thinking. That is why they cannot understand deeply. So for that kind of meditator, it's suitable to practice Yuganaddhasutta. The Yuganaddha, Samatha-Vipassanā together. Then again, Sudamaya. I have to elaborate a little bit more about Sudamaya. So I divide into many different groups for Sudamaya. What it really means, learning knowledge. Although we learn a lot, it's not that much effective for practice sometimes. Then we encounter a lot of difficulty. In the case of Sudamaya, here I list out. The first one, abhinyaya, to be understood well, such as jhana, vipassana, Four Noble Truths, and so on. So we must understand what's really called jhana, what's really called vipassana, what's really called Four Noble Truths, what really called many other dhamma, right? So if we can understand very well, then it will be easier for us to practice. That is why whenever people ask, do we need to practice, do we need to study Abhidhamma before practicing? Of course, if we have Abhidhamma knowledge, it's easier to understand Sutta and Abhidhamma and all the Dhamma talk. Also, we can also understand how to practice. If we have that kind of learning knowledge, it will be easier for us to practice. It also can be supporting cause of improvement. 2. Parinyaya, to be known accurately, such as mentalities, materialities, and so on. That means we must understand, or we must know the truly, accurately, mentality. So we may have many different types of mentalities. We also have many different types of materialities. We must also know the nature of all types of mentalities and materialities. Mostly people understand very simple way, right? This body is a materialities. The mind is a mentalities. They just emphasize, they just analyze very easy way. But in the case of Vipassana, insight knowledge is not that simple. 3. Pahadaba, to be abandoned, such as defilements, taint, any negativities, and so forth. Yeah, in the case, there are many other negativities we have to abandon. We can say negative power, right? For example, defilements. So when we have defilements, our concentration will decline. Also, our vipassana will decline. We have to abandon these kind of things. So taints. Sometimes we also translate as a canker, but it refers to asava. Okay, asava means like a long time fermented wine or alcohol or something. So long time fermented. It will be a little bit strong maybe, right? This is called asava. Okay, if we say another way, it's like a mental intoxicant. So if somebody get drunk, you can see, right? Body is also unstable, mind also unstable. Everything is like a crazy person. Similarly, when we have some defilements, we are like crazy people. For example, sensual pleasure or attachment. When we have very strong attachment to something or somebody, we become crazy. And similarly, attachment to the life. Sometimes we want to protect our life. Then we are like crazy people. Similarly, wrong view, holding wrong view. Although we have opportunity to know the truth, although we can find the truth, we still have attachment to that kind of wrong view, like crazy people. Similarly, ignorance. If we have very strong ignorance, we are like crazy people also, like a drunkard. That's why we must abandon this kind of things, a kind of madness or craziness or this kind of things. So we must know what to be abandoned. We also have to know how to be abandoned, how to abandon them also. If we know all the things, it's easier. For example, some of the defilements by meditating, we can overcome. If some of the defilements, then by reading or by exercising, we can overcome. It depends on how strong the defilements. We may have different types of practice. Anyway, we must know Pahadaba, to be abandoned. That means what to be abandoned. Then Bhavidaba, to be developed, such as Samatha, Vipassana, and so on. Here we just say very simple things, Samatha and Vipassana. We have to develop. For example, now Anapanasati, we have to develop. We have to improve ourselves. Not only that, for example, we have many positive mental power, such as confidence. We must try to develop this kind of things. We have right efforts. We have to develop this kind of things. Similarly, we may have very strong mindfulness. We have to develop this kind of things. We have strong awareness. We have to develop. There are many positive mental power we have to develop. So we must know what to develop. what not to develop. For example, we have efforts. I have already mentioned right efforts and wrong efforts. Right effort should be developed. Wrong effort should be abandoned. Similarly, we have a right perception or wrong perception. Right perception should be developed. Wrong perception should be abandoned. Actually, there are many other factors. We can get both right and wrong, good and bad. All the good quality should be developed. All the bad quality should be abandoned. Then another one is Satchigadava, to be experienced by oneself, such as three vijayas, path, fruition, and so on. So some of the things should be experienced. Even in this evening, in the question and answer, right? One meditator asks, by learning, or just by learning the text, just knowing everything, then we don't need to meditate, right? That kind of idea is right or wrong? We have that kind of question, right? Then you may also remember my simile, salt, right? The simile of salt. So that means sometimes we learn in the text. For example, nimitta in the text. Or maybe nimitta a little bit far from many of meditators. Okay, we should say only the lights, okay. It will be easier, right? The light. So you may have read many things about the light when meditating. So learning in the text and experiencing by ourselves, two different things. If we experience, we can confirm it's the truth. If we have never experienced the light, we may have a lot of doubt about the life, about the light. So here I mentioned three vijayas. Okay, three vijayas means some psychic power. For example, divajaku. Divajaku means we can see divine beings by spiritual power. Also, we can also see very fine, very subtle objects, although it's very far. This kind of spiritual power. Another thing is Bhubi-Nivasana-sati, recollecting past lives or knowing the past lives. This is also spiritual quality, spiritual power. Another thing is attaining arhatship. This is called three vijaya. So for about the path and fruition knowledge, you may have already known this one, right? Sodapati, path and fruition, Sakatagami, path and fruition, Anagami, path and fruition, Arhata, path and fruition. If we ourselves experience, we become evidence. So that means there are many things in the text. If we ourselves can experience all the things, then we are following Buddha's teaching. We have also one very easy example mentioned in the teaching. Frequently, many of Pali teachers also refer to this passage, especially for learners. The cow herds and then cow owners. Cow herds had to take care of the cows, but he cannot enjoy the taste of milk. But cow owners does not need to take care of the cows, but he can enjoy the taste of milk. Similarly, although we learn a lot, if we don't practice, if we cannot experience it, we are just cow herds. We are not cow owner. Right? If we are cow owner, we can be rich. Again, this is a Sudamaya, right? We must know all these things by learning. This is called Sudamaya. Again, Hana Bhagiya consists to degradation. Actually, we also have to know what make our ability decline. What make our power weaker? Okay, number one, disobedience. So disobedience is also one of the conditions. Sometimes we may be a little arrogant. We don't wish to listen to the teacher. At the time, we may have difficulty to improve. Sometimes our concentration will decline. So sometimes people does not know how to listen. Mostly people have this kind of bad habit, right? They just know how to speak. They don't know how to listen. But the main thing is disobedience mostly comes from mana, pride. It also can be other things because of wrong view. Also can be because of greed, because of hatred. Also can be caused by many other defilements. Anyway, the main thing is, if we are disobedient, then it will be conducive to degradation. 2, having a false friend. That means unwise friends or untruthful friends. We may have many friends, but not all the friends are helpful in our practice. Even in your community, that there are many of friends who talk about negativity, right? When you're going to meditate, they may say, why you are wasting your time? Maybe more than 10 years ago, a young lady from England came to Pao. As far as I remember, at the time, she was 27 years old, and too young actually. She was meditator. Although she was in England, she was meditating. Then her mother and her sister and many of her relatives talked to her, why you are wasting your time, doing nothing? He came to Pao Doya, he could improve. When he came to Pao Doya, she could improve very well. But the main thing is, sometimes there are some friends, they have never experienced meditation, they have never known the taste of meditation, that they may not have a good idea about meditation. So if we have that kind of friends, they may complain about your practice. Then they are not truthful for you, not useful for you, not helpful for you. So you must be careful. When we have to associate with that kind of people, we can associate bhavali and bodily. Don't associate with mentally, our minds. I mean, don't associate with your heart. You can associate with the mouth and the body. It will be better. If we associate with our hearts, not that much helpful. So that means we can listen to their talk, but don't keep in your mind. Don't keep in your heart. When you have that kind of equanimous mind, it will be okay. Another thing is doubt. Actually, when we have a doubt, also is also conducive to degradation. That our concentration can decline, our morality can decline, our wisdom can decline. Now, here I mentioned in other words, one, talk about the Buddha. This is very clear already, right? I have already said many times Buddha's quality and Buddha's attainment. 2, doubt about the Dhamma. Dhamma's quality, also including Tipitaka, right? Now, even you have asked, last night you have already asked, why in Myanmar we have very strong Dhamma, why in other countries they don't follow Dhamma? So that means there are many people, they also say Dhamma is not Buddha teaching. Not only Dhamma actually, they also say, this Sutta is not Buddha teaching, taught by Venerable Ananda, this Sutta is taught by Sariputta, this Sutta is taught by Kassapa, they are not Buddha teaching. They analyze many ancestry things, but not for practice, just analyzing. So it will just cause a lot of doubt about the Dhamma. Finally, they say, Buddha didn't say Dhamma, Buddha just say Dhamma, something like that. Again, 3, doubt about the Sangha, the noble Sangha, especially here. So you may also have doubt about Sangha's quality. Then 4, doubt about the training. So now we have a training, the morality training, concentration also training, wisdom, the Vipassana, insight also training. If we doubt about morality and the benefit of morality, then we cannot practice well. If we have doubt about samatha practice, right? Then many people say, why in Power do I emphasize on samatha so much? Actually, we also emphasize on Vipassana so much also, right? So much in detail in Vipassana also. So actually, there are many, many parts people had never heard before. For those who had learned in Tipitaka may know many parts. We combine all the things. That means if we have doubt about the training, morality, concentration, or wisdom, it will be 4, contributes to degradation. Then 5, having grudge against the fellow Dhamma friends. So sometimes, although it's a very minor things, we can have grudge against our friends, right? That means very strong hatred. So if we have very strong anger or very strong hatred, it's not useful for our practice. If we can overcome hatred, we can improve ourselves. So we also have to know what make our ability, our quality decline, what make our quality improve. This is called Hanabhagya. If we can know all these things, it will be beneficial for our practice. This is also called Suttamaya. Then continuation of Hanabhagya. 1, not having faith. So if we don't have confidence, I already said, when we have confidence, we must develop. Okay, one more thing. I should explain 2 more things about confidence. Confidence will make our, the saddha or faith will make our mind clear and pure. Sometimes confidence can change to mana, pride. So when we have overconfidence, it's at the time we don't have saddha. At the time we can say it's a mana, pride. So both confidence also can make a decision. Mana also can make decision. When our decision is made by saddha, it is very pure, no confusion, everything is clear. When our decisions are made by mana, pride, there will be confusion. We cannot make our mind clear. It will be 2 different things. So we must have saddha, not mana. That means when we have confidence, it must make our mind clear. If something may confuse, we have to clarify it. 2, having moral shameless. We can also say no moral shame. So that means when we are going to do something wrong, we must feel shameful. Now, after having done something wrong, we must feel guilty and shameful. This is called moral shame. 3, having moral dreadless. This means we can also say moral fearless. That means when we are going to do something wrong, we are very brave. We are eager to do. We are willing to do. This is called moral fearless. In the case of moral shame and moral fear, that means when we are going to do something wrong, we are unwilling or we hesitate to do. This is called moral shame and moral fear. Actually, in our community, we must have respect. If we don't respect anybody for their quality or their conditions, then we may not have moral shame and moral dread. At the same time, we must respect our own value. If we don't respect our value, our quality, then we may have moral shameless and moral fearless. then it will be for declination. So to become a moral or to be a good person, these two are really very important. So if we say another way, moral shame and moral fear come from respect. We must respect our own value. We must respect other people. If we know how to respect, we may have moral shame and moral dread. If we have moral shame and moral dread, then we can be moral. Then we can observe morality well. The Buddha also said these two are the protector of the worlds. That means these two make difference between human beings and animals. So you can also imagine, if we don't have moral fear and moral shame, we will not respect elderly people. We will not respect our parents. We will not respect anybody. We are similar to animal. Then we may do many mistakes, right? Even in modern society, right? People are quarreling all the time, right? Fighting all the time. Many competition. In Singapore, you have many competition, right? Because your life is a lot of pressure, right? You may have a lot of competition. Anyway, the main thing is this moral shame and moral fear is also important for improvement. If we don't have these two, everything will decline. Again, not having Dhamma knowledge. I have already mentioned what is Dhamma knowledge. Actually, when we say Dhamma knowledge is sutta, sutta means learning Buddha teaching. You may know 5 Nikaya because of the 5 collections of teaching. For example, the collections of long discourses, middle discourses, connected discourses, numerical discourses, also miscellaneous discourses or minor discourses. So if we don't have any knowledge about Buddha teaching, then it also for our declination or practice. Then again, being lazy. We don't need to talk about this one, right? It's very, very clear already. If we are lazy, we cannot improve. If we are lazy, it's very free and very comfortable, but we cannot improve. Again, being negligent. Okay, we can say negligent means pamada. What do we translate pamada as a negligent? So this one is not that simple to translate actually. For example, we may not perform our duties respectfully. We may not practice respectfully. This is also called negligent. This is also called pamada. Okay, we should not use negligent. This is the English word, right? We choose Pali word, pamada. Pamada means if we don't have consistent practice, this is also called pamada. For all the good things, we have to practice consistently, right? Continuously. If we don't have consistent practice, this is also called pamada. But sometimes when we remember, okay, we practice. When we become lazy, we stop. Sometimes we are interested in something, practice. When we become lazy, stop. This is not consistent. Also, pamada. Actually, there are many other explanations about pamada. The main thing is if we have pamada, then we cannot improve. It will be for degradations. 7, being unwise. So when we talk about the wisdom or wise, that means actually we must have rationality or reasoning. Actually, we must know is proper or improper. It will be effective or ineffective. It will be advantages or disadvantages. That we must know all the things. That we must think about it. This is called wise. If we don't have that kind of knowledge, this is called unwise. So when we talk about Hana Bhagiya, right, we also have to know what cause our ability weaker. What are the causes that make our practice weaker? What make our concentration drop? We have to know all the things, then later we can avoid. Again, one more. Hana Bhagiya. This is the last part for Anabhagya, right? 1, 3 bodily wrong actions. So this is also for the degradation. For the 3 body wrong action means if you study 5 precepts or 8 precepts, you have already know. Panadipada, killing living beings. Adrinadana, stealing and giving properties. And also Kamsamajachara, such misconduct. These are called bodily wrong actions. So these 3 bodily wrong actions will make our practice weaker. Then 4 bhava wrong actions, it will be too long also. You may have already known 4 of them, but not that in detail maybe. For example, musawada, everybody know, telling a lie, telling untrue things. Okay, one more thing here. When we say telling untruths, there will be some special case, like a white lie. Right? This mostly people use this one, right? White lie. For example, medical doctor will consult their patients, although he or she will pass away soon. They will say, okay, just take this medicine and you can recover. After 1 month later, you can come and see me. Actually, within a few weeks, he will die. Right? So that means they just console the patient. Because of they are telling lie, they are lying, then patient can be happy. It's beneficial for patient. On this kind of case, we call Valanchaka Musawara. Right? It's also breaking precepts, but not harmful. We can also say it's allowable, okay? Allowable Musawara, right? Sometimes when we are in danger, that we may tell something untrue to protect ourselves from the danger. This is also called Valanchaka Musawara. Right? It's not harmful for other people, and just to protect ourselves. But this is also, we can say, something allowable. Okay, the main thing is musawada. If something is very harmful for others, for example, we tell a lie to somebody, he misunderstands something, then he also do something wrong, very harmful for him. Sometimes they will suffer whole life, for example, right? So if something very harmful for listeners, we should not say. This is musawada. It's very risky, very serious, very heavy agusala. Another thing is Pisuna Vacha. Okay, here I should, mostly we translate as Pisuna Vacha as like a slandering or backbiting or something. But in the case of Pisuna Vacha, actually we spoil love between 2 persons. For example, 2 persons have very good relationship. We're trying to spoil their relationship by giving wrong information or right information. This is called Pisuna Vacha. It can be among the family member. It also can be among the friends. It also can be in the community, in the society, organization, anywhere. This is called Pisuna Vacha. In Pali, Pisuna Vacha means Piya Sunya Karana. Piya means love. Sunya means 0. Karana means making. So it makes people's love 0. That means because if they have a good relationship, later they don't have good relationship anymore because of interfering by somebody. Another one is Prusa Vacha. It will be very wide. So Prusa Vacha means abusive words, abusive speech. So abusive speech means mostly people understand abusive means like a taboo or something, right? But in the case of abusive speech, it's something undesirable to the listeners. Mostly people understand like a scolding, for example, right? Scolding, people dislike. Actually, every parent scolds their children, right? In this case, they are impatient with their children. That's when they scold. In this kind of case, we're going to say Prusawacha. We're going to say abusive words. Because they cannot bear anymore, right? They just wish their children to be smart. Then with great intention. In the case of Agusala, it must have bad intention. In the case of Prusawacha, abusive speech, that means we speak with bad intention or wrong intention. And for example, actually it will be too long also, right? There are actually 10 different types of abusive words according to Buddha's teaching. I will just give some example. Okay, for example, nationality. So sometimes we just talk about nationality. Then if we say something bad about nationality, this is also abusive words. For example, here majority are Singaporean, right? So I may say, you Singaporean are very bad. You don't want to hear that kind of things, right? So you may say, you Burmese are very bad. I don't want to hear this kind of things. So this is called nationality. Okay, majority are maybe Chinese, right? You may say, you Chinese are like this, for example. Then you don't want to hear this kind of things. This is called nationality. Okay, another thing is like faults or mistakes, past mistakes. Right? So sometimes whenever happen, we just review past mistakes. Long times ago already, just trying to recall that one, bring back that one, find faults. Actually, this is also called abusive words. For example, in our childhood, we may have stole somebody's ruler, for example, right? Or maybe pencil. And when we grow older, then also they just bring back this topic, trying to attack, right? So this kind of case are also called abusive words. It already passed, cannot change anymore. Why we have to bring back this one to the present conditions? As long as somebody is changing, we don't need to bring all the past things. Right? This is called abusive words. Actually, there are 10 different types of abusive words. It will be too long. That's why I will not explain all, right? Just example. Okay. So the main thing is we may have bad intention. It's something undesirable to the listener. We have to speak it. We have to talk about it in the presence of that person. Then he may feel something painful in his mind. This is called abusive words. Although we may speak very sweetly, very softly, if something undesirable for the listeners, this is abusive words. So Buddha also lists out what kind of abusive words, right? So that means if we have bad intention, also trying to insult somebody, then trying to speak something improper, something harmful to him, we can say this is also wrong speech. Another one is useless speak. Okay, for example, when we greet somebody, then we will say, oh, today weather is very hot. There's a greeting. Okay, no problem. Then if we just emphasize on weather too much, right? How hot, just compare with this, compare with that. Just make long conversation, for example. Not that much useful, not that much interesting also. For example, sometimes we just talk about something for our knowledge. In this case, it will be okay. We can say useful talk. In the case of Sambapalapa, that means useless talk. If something is not that much useful for the listeners, then this means we are wasting time. Then again, 3 mental wrong actions. This one is also very common in the community. For example, abhijja. Abhijja means we wish to catch other people's property by doing something unreasonable or improper. For example, buying force or something, right? This is called abhijja. Vyapada, that means we wish to spoil other people's properties or other people's belonging, other people's life. This is called vyapada. The last one is mithya-ditthi, wrong view. All the things come from the mind. If we have that kind of wrong thoughts, wrong idea, then it will be for degradation. That means we cannot improve ourselves. So when we are going to improve, we must know what make our practice weaker. Also, we also have to know what make our practice stronger. This is called Suttamaya, learning knowledge. Then, a few more, Anabhagya. Okay. There are many other negative mindsets that lead to degradation, depending on the practice. For example, there are 5 factors of degradation of morality. This is called morality, okay? So why our morality become weaker? The first one, associating with unwise. Okay, here maybe I should inform you in the very beginning, right? Before explaining all the 5. Actually, we have many different parts of Hana Bhagya. For example, in the morality also we have Hana Bhagya morality, Hana Bhagya Sila. In the concentration also we have Hana Bhagya Samadhi. That's why I have to talk about different parts. Okay, this 5 are for morality. The first one is associating with unwise. We can also say immoral. Actually, this is very difficult to avoid. Mostly good behavior and bad behavior. We are very easy to emulate bad behavior, very easy to follow bad behavior, very difficult to follow good behavior. That's why when seeing somebody doing wrong, all that he can do, I should also do, for example, right? Another thing, for example, fishing. You may have seen fishing, right? So fishing, if you see somebody fishing, right, they can get a lot of fish. Then you may like to fish. Very easy. Then there are many other things, like a probably a smoker, drunkard, all the people in the very beginning, they are non-smoker. They may have some of their friends in the very beginning, then they will get, okay, can you try? Then we can try for a while. After that, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, then we know how to do. Finally, we also smoke, right? In Myanmar also we have, you don't have this kind of culture in Singapore, right? Peter quits, Peter nuts, right? Myanmar people choose Peter quits. Then almost all the people in the very beginning, they don't choose Peter quit actually. And because I live in the Pali school, I know many people who choose Peter quits. In the very beginning, they have only friends. They are friends of the one who choose Peter quits. In the very beginning, the one who choose Peter quit will share one of his part, right? His portion. Okay, can you try? 1 piece. He try. Second time, he may give 1 piece. Third time. Finally, he know how to choose. So before we know how to choose, we are sharing our friends. When we know how to choose, we have to buy ourselves. Right? Similarly, for drinker, in the very beginning, if you don't know how to drink, if you don't drink, your friend will share, right? Then when you become drinker, you must buy it for by yourself. Nobody will share with you, right? This is the way. The main thing is imitation or emulation, right? We may imitate somebody, bad people especially. That's why in the community, we must be very careful when communicating or associating. 2, associating with the wise, that means moral person. If we avoid moral person, we don't have any particular moral person to emulate. Actually, associating with moral person, moral people also, we must follow the way they practice. If we are in the good community, we can follow easily. In the bad community, it's not that easy. Another thing is not seeing fault as a fault. Actually, this is also very common in modern society. Although we have already broke precepts, but we didn't think that we have broken precepts. Okay, one case is I have met one musician from Hong Kong, and he said, I have accumulated many kusala in my life. Then when we ask, how do you make the very big kusala? If I compose song, I play the music, I make people happy, then I can get a lot of kusala. In every steps, Nachakita Varida, you know already. Right? This is not kusala. But he think it's a kusala. So although it's just akusala, but we don't accept as akusala. This is one thing, right? But sometimes we cannot accept as akusala also. For example, drinking in modern society is very common everywhere. Nobody thinks is it akusala, right? So we must see fault as a fault, mistake as a mistake. Then 4, not guarding sense doors. So eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body. If we are unwise when seeing something, then there will be akusala. On hearing, on smelling, tasting, touching, we may have akusala. If we are unwise. If we are wise, we may have kusala. Then 3, having wrong thoughts. So we can also imagine, right, having wrong thoughts. That means all the time we have negative thoughts. We don't have good thoughts. Then it will cause our morality weaker. This is also Hanabhagya for morality. Again, for about Hanabhagya, this is for concentration. In the case of concentration, there are 3 factors of degradation. They are 1, having strong defilements. If we have very strong defilements, our concentration will become weaker. Sometimes it will go to 0. 2, having unsuitable conditions such as being busy with activity and so on. Actually, here unsuitable conditions I have already mentioned before. Then 3, not practicing. That means not very diligent, not very strong efforts. That means not very willing to practice. If we have these 3 conditions, our concentration will become weaker. Okay, now, Titi Bhagya. We also have to know Titi Bhagya. That means continue to keep maintaining the attainments up. That means maintaining. So morality that cannot lead to concentration. Sometimes we have morality, but it's not powerful enough to lead to the concentration. Then 2, the concentration that cannot lead to insight. That means although we have concentration, it's not powerful enough to practice vipassana. That means we don't have asset concentration or absorption concentration. Although we have asset concentration, absorption concentration, we're going to descend nama rupa. That means not so powerful enough. This is called Titi Bhagya. We must know why we have these kind of conditions. Sometimes we have attachment to our morality. We also have attachment to concentration. We're going to improve anymore. Then Visisa Bhagya conduces to progress. The morality that can lead to concentration, the concentration that can lead to insight. So that means our morality must be strong enough to attain jhana. Our concentration must be strong enough to practice vipassana. So this is called Visisa Bhagya. So when we have good morality, we must try to improve until we can concentrate very well. When we have good concentration, we must try to improve ourselves until we can practice vipassana. This is called Visisa Bhagya. Nibbida Bhagya conduces to penetration. Morality and concentration of one who practice for knowledge of disenchantment and achievement of path and fruition knowledge. So that means Nibbida Bhagya means we can say higher vipassana, higher insight knowledge, also path and fruition knowledge. They are called Nibbida Bhagya. So when we have very strong concentration power, we can also reach that kind of level. Okay. So These are Suttamaya. We must know what make our concentration weaker, what make just maintain, what is the progress, what's called penetration. If we know all the causes, all the conditions, we call Suttamaya. If we know, we can balance easier. If we don't know, we don't know how to balance also. So briefly, Yuganaddha method is for those who attain jhana. They can practice jhana. After that, emerging from it, practice vipassana. So they can do together, one to another. Okay, on the last part of Yuganaddhasutta. Dhammuddhacca Bobangama. A Sri Imtara who attained the noble foods by pure Vipassana vehicle. Actually, not only Sotapanna, he can also attain Arhataship, up to Arhataship with pure Vipassana vehicle. So not only that, another one who experiences the impurity of insight. So there are some impurity of insight. They are also a little bit risky for meditators. Here I will list out. This will be the last part for today. So the 10 impurities, imperfections, or impurity are obhasa, light. So even in anapanasati, you can see the lights. What's the difference between the light in impurity and the light in anapanasati? When we have very strong concentration, very strong insight knowledges, then the light will become stronger. It was so strong that we can think that we have attained path and fruition knowledge. So strong. That's why we also misunderstand ourselves as a Ariya, noble person. 2, jnana, knowledge. The insight knowledge is also very sharp and very strong. The objects are also very clear, very obvious. That is why people also misunderstand, or I have attained path and fruition knowledge. That means the way they know Namarupas is very clear, very obvious. The way they know variation states of Namarupa is also very clear, very obvious. Then they also know passing away very clearly. They can misunderstand themselves as a noble person. Piti, joy, or rapture. So the rapture also very strong, very joyous feeling. That is why they can misunderstand themselves as a noble person. Okay, now 4, passati, tranquility. So when we have tranquility, our minds become very peaceful. Then people also can misunderstand that they have attained noble foods. Sukha, happiness. We also translate sometimes as a bliss. It's very blissful. That's why people also misunderstand and have attained noble foods. Viriya, exertion. Actually, we can say effort. In the case of impurity, the effort must be balanced efforts. They can balance the effort very easily. That's why they misunderstand themselves as a noble person. Then 8, upatthana, foundations, that means mindfulness. So their mindfulness, their awareness become very powerful. Rather than upekkha, equanimity. They have very strong equanimity towards everything. They can balance everything very well. That's why misunderstanding. The last one is nikanti, attachment. So this is the most dangerous one. When we have attachment to any of these things, for example, attachment to the light, attachment to the inside knowledge, attachment to the rapture, tranquility, happiness, confidence, exertion, mindfulness, equanimity, then we cannot improve anymore. Okay, one more thing here. Although very well educated bhikkhus, very good practitioners also can think that they have attained jhana when they have these 10 impurities. When I visited Sri Lanka, I have been to one monastery, forest monastery, Nimalawa. Actually, in the very deep forest. They also have many tigers, elephants, many other wild animals there. So the next day, we just visit around the forest. Then we just want to see how they live in the forest. Then one of the Mahatera told me, we have one pagoda in memory of Venerable Dhammadina. He entered Nirvana in this area. So in the mountain, they have small pagoda. Can you do to see? And I say yes. Then they bring me there. I have been to that place. At that time, I remember his story. His story means Venerable Dhammadina's biography, we can say, right? This is also a historical event. So his teacher is Venerable Mahanaga, very well educated. He was also teaching his students both Samatha-Vipassanā or even Pali canons. But he was not yet Arhat. But students is Arhat, but teacher wasn't Arhat yet. Venerable Dhammadina could read his teacher's conditions. I mean, he has psychic power, he could know. Then I have finished my job. That means I have attained Arhatship. What about my teacher? When he check, he realized his teacher has all this impurity. Only impurity. But he thought he has attained Arhatship. No, Sodapana, he thought he has attained Arhatship. So the student wants to help the teacher. Then he just visited. We can say in the wrong time, maybe, right? The wrong time means maybe at night. When he visited, the teacher said, why you come in the wrong time? You must come in the proper time. I have some question. Urgently, I wish to know. That's why I came to see you. Then teacher was along. Okay, you can ask. He asked many questions about the practice. Then the teacher can answer every single question. Then that means his knowledge is very strong. I mean, like Arhat, right? Although he hasn't attained Arhatship yet, he's like Arhat. Some of the question are only, some of the question, only Arhat can answer that kind of question. Ordinary people cannot answer. Although that kind of question he could answer very easily. Then the student asks, Bhante, how long have you been achieving this kind of attainment? Since, you say 60 years ago. Too long, right? 60 years ago has been too long. So 60 years ago, I have achieved all the things. Okay, so do you have any psychic power? And she say, yes. Can you use your psychic power? She also say, yes. Can you create an elephant? And he created an elephant. Okay, let the elephant attack you. When the elephant comes and attacks you, he's scared. Teacher scared. Or that listen. Then he also realized he hasn't attained even Anagami. Then he also say thanks to the student, right? Okay, now, I need your help. Student also say, yes, I just came for this purpose. He just gives some guidance. The teacher also can practice, he could attain Arhatship in the sports. So the main thing is, this kind of things are very dangerous for practitioners. Most of the people stop in that kind of things. In modern society, many of meditators, when they have peacefulness, they stop there. No more improvements. But they like that kind of peacefulness. Right? There are many other better stage, better experiences, but they are not interested in any other practice. Even I myself have some meditator, one lady from Vietnam. She has seen the nimitta. So she just report normally. I don't remember how many months she was reporting the same things. I can focus very well. I can stabilize my mind. I can see the light. I say, okay, I just thought it's the very beginning of seeing the light. So I say, okay, don't think about the light too much. More focus on the breathing. Then later, one of the meditator report me. One day she has already practiced. She had already seen the nimitta with another teacher. She hides her nimitta. She didn't report you. But the next time, I told her, you have seen the nimitta, right? When I say like this, he just changed her face and say, Bande, don't teach me other subjects. I just want to be with nimitta. I don't want to do any other things. Although you ask me to check something, I want to do anything. I want to do. She say openly, she likes that kind of happiness, that kind of peacefulness. She stopped there. No more improvement. Nikanti, attachment. So when we have attachment to peacefulness, calmness, this is also an obstacle, impurity of practice. We must be very careful. Now we also have another things we have to know a little bit. That means sometimes when our inside knowledge is very powerful, then all these things arise, it's not that much risky. That means we have very strong knowledge, very strong, we can say, we call panya, right? Panya means wisdom. If we are very wise, then we know everything, then not that much disturbance. So another thing is that if we have very weak wisdom, then all the things can cause agitation. Not only that, also it will cause other defilements. It also cause to arise other different defilements. This is a very weak one. So since they are very weak, they will not think that they have attained path and future knowledge. The second level, they have medium wisdom. When they have medium wisdoms, then although they have agitation, but all other defilements cannot arise. But they have some wisdom. Another thing, they may have a misunderstanding. They can also misunderstand and have attained path and future knowledge like that. This is for medium level wisdom. So if we have very strong wisdom, then we may not have any misunderstanding. Maybe we may have, sorry. So we may have some agitation. That means if we have although when we have very strong wisdom, we may have agitation, but it cannot cause any defilements. We may not have any adhimana. Adhimana means we may not misunderstand that we have attained path and future knowledge. It depends on our wisdom power also. Okay, it depends on different power of wisdom. We may have different conditions. So for those who misunderstand themselves as arahat or sotapanna or something, that means they have medium inside knowledge after experiencing all these things. Sometimes, although we don't experience all these things, we just think we have attained path and future knowledge, right? And this one is a little bit risky also. Okay, so these are 10 impurities or 10 obstacles then to improve inside knowledges. So when we can, then that can hinder our inside knowledges, right? So that means if we can overcome all these things, we can improve. In the case of Dhammodacca, having all these things, then although we have all these types of impurity, our mind can come back to the Vipassana. This is called Dhammodacca. Udacca means restlessness, agitation. Although they have agitation, they can come back to Vipassana easily. Actually, there are many ways to overcome this impurity. It also mentioned in Visuddhimagga. But it will be too long for you, also too heavy topic for you. Also, even now, very heavy already, right? So anyway, so we have 4 different types of practice according to Yuganaddhasutta. I will summarize, right? The first one, Samatha should be first. After that, go to Vipassana. Second one, Vipassana first. After that, go back to Samatha. The third one, Samatha Vipassana together. So by practicing these 3 ways, they can attain arhatship. The last one is a Dhammodaja. When we talk about Dhammodaja, that means when we encounter impurity, our mind does not follow all the impurity, not attracted by impurity. Although we have agitation, we can come back to insight, we can come back to Vipassana, we can continue practicing until we can attain arhatship. So Venerable Ananda talked to his Dhamma friends. Whoever declared their attainment is bhikkhu or bhikkhunis, they just say in these 4 ways of practice, not other ways. So this is the end of the Yuganaddhasutta, right? So when we go and read the sutta, it's look very simple. Samatha, practice Samatha, then go to Vipassana, practice Vipassana, then go back to Samatha, also two together, also Dhammodaja, right? Very simple. But when we try to understand in detail, very messy already, right? Okay, now conclusion. Although the Buddha mentioned many different instructions in Tipitaka, if we summarize, it will be only Noble Eightfold Paths. So there are 8 things. It's too much for you, very difficult to remember. Okay, if we summarize again, it will be only 3 trainings: morality, concentration, and wisdom. If we summarize all the 3 trainings again into one single word, it's called appamada. Appamada means vigilance, or we can say like heedfulness, right? We mostly translate heedfulness or vigilance. Anyway, the main thing is appamada. When we say appamada, that means we are eager to do wholesome deeds. There are many wholesome deeds we have never done in this body life, trying to do. Not only that, we don't allow our mind to be with unwholesome states of the mind or unwholesome conditions. So if we are used to be with unwholesome conditions, then it will get worse for our practice. This is also called, right, awareness. So anyway, the main thing is, if we don't allow our mind to be with unwholesome conditions, this is also called appamada. If we just make our mind to be with wholesome conditions, this is also called appamada. You can say vigilance or heedful. So this is the Buddha teaching. Mostly when we talk about heedful, people also understand as a mindfulness or awareness. So if we are aware of meditation subject all the time, then it will be more beneficial for our life. Whenever we need to be peaceful, we can live in peaceful stage easily. So before experiencing peacefulness, you may encounter difficulty. So all the happiness, all the bliss, all the good conditions have to start with difficulty. So now you may have many difficulties, right? After overcoming difficulties, you may achieve some level of concentration, maybe rapture, tranquility, or peacefulness, or you may see the light, you may see the nimitta. Then you may attain asset concentration, you may attain absorption concentration. All the things come from our mind. If we train our mind, everything can happen. Okay? May you all be able to train your minds, and may you all be able to achieve all the things you wish.
Undami Bande, he practiced Anapanasati in one sitting. First, he will put his mind at the nostril area, at a fixed place around the nostril area. For example, at the left nostril, and try to notes the in breath and out breath. For example, in breath, he will note in, and out breath, he will note out. When there is wandering thoughts, then he will put his mind back to the place to observe the breath. When the concentration is stable for a while, then he will try to know the long, short breath as it is. When it's further stabilized, then you continue with whole breath. At this time, when there is in breath, he will continuously note in. When there is out breath, he will continuously note out. He will continue in this way until his sitting finish. So each weekend, she will spend 3 hours meditate in this way. So every day when he has free time, he will continue with meditation. In this way, is that okay? And after 1 year, he will retire. After retirement, he will have no commitment. Can he continue to learn under Pandey's guidance in Myanmar?
Okay, so for about the practice, not this the problem. Only one thing, right? That one is to talk about the left nose hole, right? If you try to know very much in detail, you may encounter difficulty in the future. As long as you can know breathing generally, is good enough. So now you also mentioned short and long breaths, whole breath body, center breath, and everything, right? So as long as you can know breathing naturally, is good enough. Another thing is counting, knowing the breathing, right? In, out. Okay. When you have very long breath, you can do it. When you have short breath, you cannot do that one, right? It's okay. For other things, it's okay. Not really big problem.
Jiado, this is the first time I come to a retreat here. My name is Li Huang. When I meditate, I keep coughing, so I feel uneasy to ask. 1. How to cultivate no self? 2. When I meditate, I can see the light for 5 to 8 minutes. Then the light disappears. Then I bring my focus back to the breath. What should I do to sustain it? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, how to cultivate non-self, right? This one is not that simple. Not that simple means you must know anatta, right? Actually, we have many definitions of anatta. Then it will be too long, right? Too messy for you also. Other things like seeing the light, 5 to 8 minutes, this is actually quite enough. So you don't need to sustain the light. You just need to sustain, focus on the breathing. Is it good enough? If you're trying to sustain the light, you have to put extra effort. If you can maintain focus on the breathing, the light will remain there. It's natural. Okay? So more natural way will be better for you. Then this is actually good enough for a beginner. You just say first time meditation retreats. If you see the light, 5 to 8 minutes, this is long enough actually. Right?
According to the Vinaya, as long as the saliva and urine leave the body, and those urine or saliva need to be reoffered again. So what is the conditions that the Buddha set these Vinaya rules?
Actually, the main thing is, without offering bhikkhu eat, then, okay, the problem is actually, this comes from one bhikkhu who live in the China ground, in the cemetery. Then many people offer food for their departed relatives, and the bhikkhu take all the food. He become very fat. Right? Then people complain, oh, he lived in the cemetery, although he also practiced Judanga, he was very fat. I think he's eating cannibalism, right? Carnivore, right? Cannibalism. He's eating men's meat, human meat. People complain. Then the Buddha laid down the rules. Without any offering, you cannot eat any foods. If a donor willingly offer, then you can eat it. Buddha laid down this rule, right? So most of the people are very angry at the time because they offer for their parents or their family member, but The bhikkhu take all the food, right? And they are not very happy. That's why they complain. Okay? Next one.
Vietnamese Sayadaw. 1. Please Sayadaw advise what is Tatra Majjhatthata. 2. Is it some or different with Upekkha in Bojjhanga Sutta? Is it same or different with Upekkha in Bojjhanga Sutta? 3. Is it necessary to know the breath while eating time?
Okay.
Sadhu, sadhu.
So it depends on the condition, right? For the last one is maybe I should say it depends on the condition you have. Number 3 is easier, right? So that means while eating, we have a Sikhiya rules. You know, when you are making a mouthful, you must pay attention to the bowl or cup. Otherwise, you cannot focus on the breathing. You must focus on the cup, otherwise it will spill. Similarly, for bhikkhu, when we go for Pinda Bada, also we must pay attention to the bowl. In Bali, Sikhiya rule, we have Pada Sanyi, but Sikhiya rules, right? Where to follow the rules. So it depends on the condition you have. When you are chewing, okay, you can focus on the breathing. When you are making a mouthful or something, you cannot focus on the breathing. Pay attention to the cup or bowl. Okay, now number 1. Tattva Majjhatthata is like we can say ever evenness. Ever evenness means it make none of mental factors weaker or stronger. It just make everything balanced. This is called Tattva Majjhatthata. So number 2, Upekkha and Bojjhanga Sutta and Tattva Majjhatthata. Okay, in this case, we can also say this Upekkha also can be considered as a Tattva Majjhatthata, Cetasika, but different function. In the case of Bojjhanga Sutta, Upekkha is like similar to Kama Sakata. Kama Sakata means Kama ownership knowledge. They're similar to Kama ownership knowledge. So that means we just think about other people's karma and their effect, the result of karma. Right? This is called Bojjhanga, Upekkha Sambojjhanga. So when we are developing Upekkha Sambojjhanga, so it also mentioned, right? We call Majjhatta Bukkala. That means they don't have very strong attachment to living things or non-living things. More equanimous mind toward living things or non-living things. This is called Upekkha. Okay? So this is called Upekkha Sambojjhanga. Okay? Another one?
Sayadaw, I have 3 questions about vijas. 1. 3 vijas, normal practitioner like all of us can attain or not? 2. What level from 7 Visuddhi can attain vijas? 3. When attain 3 vijas, meditator can get only 1 or can attain 3 vijas? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, now, number 1, right? Normal practitioner can attain. Okay, that means it depends on what you practice. For example, in the case of 3 vijas, you must practice samatha subjects. This is also important. You must practice kasina and 8 attainment. Then you must also practice 14 ways of training mind thoroughly. After that, you can also go and practice the 3 vijas, right? You can also attain 1 or 2 vijas by samatha. So 1 vija must be by vipassana. Okay, another one, 2. Which level is it? Or 7 Visuddhi can attain vijas. Actually, for about the first 2 vija, it can be Citta Visuddhi. The last vija can be arhataship. So at that time, we can say the last part of, right? So maybe second part of Visuddhi and the last part of Visuddhi. Among the 7 purification, right? Second purification and the last purification. Then 3. When attains vijas, meditator can get only 1 or can attain 3 vijas. It depends on his quality, his ability. For example, for about Bhupi-Nivasana-Sati, although you don't have Bhupi-Nivasana-Sati, by inside knowledge you can also see the past lives. It's possible, those who practice, right? Now, for about divine eyes, you must practice spiritually. Okay, so that means it depends on how you practice or what you practice. You can get one of them, or two of them, or three of them. Okay.
一种禅修方法，不确定会有怀疑的话，是 Vijikicha 吗？疑吗？沙度沙度沙度。
Fundamental, in the 5 hindrances there is Vijikicha, and what is that the same meaning with Vijikicha, Cetasika?
Yeah.
Vijikicha,
Yeah, the same as Vijikajasika, sure. Yeah.
okay, and Vijikicha and Adhimokkha are they the opposites
Opposition.
factor? And Saddha and Vijikicha in 5 hindrances are they the opposites factor?
Sure.
And
Sure.
for a meditation teacher, if someone has uncertainty towards a meditation teacher or meditation methods, or have doubt with the teachers or the methods, is it called Vijikicha?
Okay. So that means, for example, teacher, right? You may have a doubt about the teacher's ability. In this case, we cannot say Vijikicha, right? This is ability, right? When we have doubt about the practice or trainings, this is Vijikicha. Okay, one more thing. Sometimes we also misunderstand all the doubts is Vijikicha. People also misunderstand like that, right? For example, when we have a doubt about the day and the night, it's not Vijikicha. When we have a doubt about, right, date, but today is Saturday or Sunday, for example, right? They're going to doubt. We're going to say Vijikicha. The Vijikicha has special subject. Doubt about the Buddha, doubt about the Dhamma, doubt about the Sangha, doubt about 3 trainings, something like that. This is called Vijikicha. Okay?
So, please Sayadaw explain again about different light as nimitta and obasa. Sayadaw, thank you very much. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so what about the light as a nimitta, right? It in samatha. Samatha means, for example, now even in the afternoon, when you ask, there's also some talking about breathing, right? Subtle breath. At the time also, I have already explained, when your breath becomes very subtle, there's something moving around nose for you, or something like itchy, something like that, right? So sound like a cotton wool, like a wrap with the cotton wool, something like that. Anyway, so later in that area, that kind of feeling will change to the light, very bright light. We can say it's a nimitta. Okay? So in the case of nimitta, it's only one place around nostril. In the case of the light, it can be all over the body, very bright light. Okay, actually also mentioned, Singapore is a little bit close to the ocean, right? Or close to the sea. So it's one of the Mahatera, he has very bright light. He could see all the sea turtle and fishes in the ocean. Very bright light, he could see everything clearly. Right? That kind of brightness. This is called obasa. Okay? So obasa is in vipassana, impurity. In the case of nimitta is in samatha, 2 different things.
Sayadaw, what are the dangers that a student will encounter if he disrespect or disobey his teacher's instruction in terms of meditation? 2. Will he create bad karma if he always disobey meditation instruction? 3. What causes a student to always misunderstand teacher's instruction understand teacher's instruction in wrong or opposite way? Could it be due to some karma accumulated in the past or some habits? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, if we say disobedience, right? We should go and read Metta-sutta. In the Metta-sutta also mentioned, right? Suvajo jasa. You may have this Paliwa. Suvajo jasa modu anati mani, right? Suvaja means obedience. So if somebody is a disobedience, he's not qualified enough to meditate. Not qualified meditator. Okay? That means he doesn't have meditator's mind. We can understand like that. Because the quality of meditators I have already mentioned in Metta-sutta. Right? Sakko ujuja, sujuja, suvajo, chasa, modu, anati, mani. Yeah, suvajo, obedient. Okay, now, where he creates bad karma, it depends on his mind. Right? Some disobedience, but he has a good mind. We cannot know. So all the bad karma come from, we can say, the evil minds, right? Bad actions, also bad minds. So in this kind of case, we cannot say exactly bad karma or good karma, right? Mostly, if somebody is disobedient, they may have bad intention mostly. We cannot say good intention. Another thing is that they may have very strong mana. They don't want to show who they are, right? They don't want to know who other people are. Another thing is, what the cause of students always misunderstand the teacher's instructions in a wrong or opposite way. So in this case, it depends on the way they listen also. Sometimes they are not good listener. They just pick up what they like. They don't listen if they dislike or something, right? Mostly truth is not what we like or dislike. Truth is the truth all the time. Right? So sometimes they don't know how to listen, or they just listen what they like, also the problem. Sometimes, they just pick up only one part of words and ask question, very, very risky, right? So I also have many difficulty like that. Anyway, the main thing is misunderstanding the instructions. Actually, it depends on the way he listens. This is the most possibility. Then could it be due to some karma accumulated in the past or some habit? Maybe it comes from environment and habit, we can say. In some meditator, they have the habit. Some of them, they come from environment. For example, I have met one bhikkhu. He had to learn from many other teachers. Very long time he had to learn from other teachers, other traditions. When they came to Paodoya, whoever talk about nimitta or the light, he has doubt about it. That means he cannot believe. Right? This is because of environment. Sometimes also we can say overconfidence. Overconfidence means he thought he is smart. Right? He's smart enough to do by himself. Actually, that kind of people should not be in the meditation center. If we think we are smart enough to be alone, okay, just live alone. Right? Don't disturb anybody. It will be easier. Right? So, okay, in this case, it can be environment, it also can be habits. Okay? Next one.
Vandami Sayadaw. 1. Can Sayadaw explain the difference between mental formations and perception in the 5 aggregates briefly? 2. Difference between consciousness, mind, and the heart. The mind sees, the heart knows, consciousness arises when conditions are met. Thank you for the guidance. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so the first question, right? The perceptions and formation aggregates. So when we say aggregates, that means it's a grouping. The mentality will arise as a group. This is called aggregate. So perceptions will arise together with many other mental factors. Then they are called perception aggregates. But we understand one perception. Another is a formation. So when we say formation aggregates, it can be many mental factors. For example, we have 4 mental aggregates: feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness. So consciousness is mind and consciousness are the same. Perception and feeling are 2 different mental factors. So if there are there are also many other mental factors. So accepting, feeling, perception, and consciousness, all other mentalities are called formation aggregates. Sometimes we also say the volitional formation. That's why we say volition is also called formation sometimes. It depends on the conditions. The second question. The consciousness and mind, just this English term, right? This English words. That's why it's a little bit difficult for me. Or in Pali, we can say Vijnana and Chitta. For example, Vijnana Khanda, consciousness aggregates. So in the case of Vijnana, mostly we use consciousness. Sometimes Chitta also used as a consciousness. The mind, okay, the mind also we can say consciousness. That means Chitta in Pali. Okay, according to Pali definitions, Chitta and Vijnana are the same. That's why consciousness and mind will be the same according to Abhidhamma. Now this is the heart. The heart is only materiality, not mentality. The heart cannot know. Okay? Then your statement there mentioned, the mind sees, the heart know, the consciousness arises, when condition arises, conditions are met. Actually, this is some misunderstanding of some Pali maybe. I think that one referred to Chakkuncha Patija, Rupecha Patija, Obajari Chakkuvinyana, Dena Singli Pasol, maybe he misunderstood that one, right? So if conditions are met, that means in this case we can say contact, not the heart. So that means you misunderstand some Pali word, right? For example, there's the iron translucency. Iron translucency arise, the visible object also arise, and consciousness also arise. Now all the conditions met at the time, contact, passa arises. This is a real statement in the Pali Canon. This is some misunderstanding, okay? Next one.
Wandamisiado, grateful for your teaching. Question 1. How do we know if we have entered the path and have attained any of the stages? Question 2. Can Sayadaw guide us on how we can practice sati in our everyday life after the retreat? Thank you once again, Sadhu Sadhu. And thank you organizing team for the well-organized retreat and sharing via Zoom. Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu.
Actually, if we have attained path and fruition knowledge, we also have a revealed knowledge. So by revealed knowledge, we can also know path and fruition knowledge. And also Nibbana, we can also see the abandoned defilements and remaining defilements. So, okay, if I say in brief, by the power of revealed knowledge, we can know the path, which path we have already achieved or attained. And question 2. Right? How can we practice sati in our everyday life, daily life, that means, right? Actually, just make habit of knowing the breathing. Maybe you must change your timetable, maybe, right? You have to reschedule. So when you have habits of practicing, you can be mindful. In the case of sati, we don't have shortcuts. To be mindful, we must be mindful, right? No shortcuts. So make habits, okay? It will be easier for you. Another thing is, although like we finish meditation retreat, you can also keep practicing anapanasati if you are free. So I have already said in anapanasati, only 2 things you have to do. Breathing, or focus on the breathing, or focus on the nimitta. Only 2. So before you can focus on the nimitta, you may encounter many difficulties, like for example, seeing the light, very strong tranquility, very strong rapture, very strong calmness, then impatience because of such a breath. And there can be many difficulties. Whatever difficulties you have, make your mind calm. Just keep knowing breathing. Don't follow any other things until you can focus on the nimitta. Okay, no mistake. Okay, if you focus on, if you know many other things than me, you are not practicing very well. Okay, now next one.
Wandamisiado, did Buddha mention what is the responsibility of a teacher to the student? Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu.
Actually, we have many things about responsibility between teacher and students. When we go and study Mahavaka, many duties we can also find. This is for ordained persons. For lay persons, also we have a duty of students and duty of teachers. Right? In Yuganaddhasutta, you can find. Okay?
Vandami Bande, according to Bande's answer just now regarding focusing on the breath as one fixed place, so for his understanding is he just need to know the breath at the clearest place, clearly. Sorry, I repeat. You just need to know the natural breath at the clearest place clearly. Doesn't need to note the breath and doesn't need to fix at any place. Is that true?
Okay, for about the noting, you can note, it doesn't matter. Only for about fixing, right? It will be a little bit risky for you. Sometimes your touching point change, you're trying to fix in one place, then more disturbance will come. Another thing is if you have to fix in one place, you have to put extra effort also. Then it can cause some tension around your nostril. So for noting is okay, but don't fix in one place too much. Okay?
Pandami Sayadaw, how to slow down oneself? Could Sayadaw share with us some of your successful experiences? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
How to slow down means, what does it mean? Huh? Move slowly. Right? Move slowly. Okay. That one's a little bit strange to me also, right? Another one.
Pandami Sayadaw, how should we adjust our mindset so that we can improve ourselves in most efficiently and fast way to train ourselves to be skillful in our life? What kind of attitude we should have? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, we have many qualities of meditators. I just talk about Metta Sutta, right? You have already known Karaniya Metta Sutta. If you read Karaniya Metta Sutta, you can find many different qualifications of a meditator. If you have all these quality or some of these quality, maybe we're going to say some of these quality, right? We can say many of these quality. It will be a little bit faster for you, right?
Sayadaw, please Sayadaw advise, can do to contemplating donors and other person images while eating time have useful or not? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, if instead of contemplating the donors and other person's image, right, we can also say radiating metta towards them is more meaningful. Okay, for about one more thing, right? For about the bhikkhus and many of people, like especially for ordinary person, we have pachavakkhana. Right? When we are eating or before eating, we just do pachavakkhana. This is one way to do, right? Another thing is radiating metta. We can choose one of these two. It will be more useful. Okay, but also recommend this kind of things. Next one.
Vandami Sayadaw, can Pachaya Parikaha Jnana discern the image of a future life on a certain days, or Pachaya Parikaha Jnana can Pachaya Parikaha Jnana clearly discern in certain day in future, or it just can discern a general area or general scopes only.
Actually, in the case of Pacchabrikahanyana, then when we see the future, right, we can see only the cause of a relationship of the future. For example, like some karma, also some result, karma result, only that. We cannot know very much in detail, like a second power. It will be different. Okay? Okay. Etavadaja amehi sambadam punya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe satta numodandu sabba sambati siriya idame nyatinam hotu sukhita hondu nyatayo idame nyatinam hotu Sukhita hondu nyadayo idame nyadinam hotu Sukhita hondu nyadayo idame bunyam asawakaya vaham hotu idame bunyam nibbānassa bhattayo hotu mama bunya bhagam sabbasattanam bhajami te sabbe me samam bunya bhagam labantu Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.